Welcome to Dadcraft, where we teach real-world spy skills to keep you and your family safe. It's no hype, no fluff, just proven tools to keep you calm in the chaos. Let's go. Good morning. This series is all about situational awareness. Simply put, situational awareness is engaging with your environment. Remember back to one of the first episodes when I talked about mindset and how the hero mindset is actively engaged with their environment? Situational awareness is the name of the tool that we use to actively engage. That is what keeps us safe. That is how we remember what's going on around us. That is how we can be observant about the things we see in the world and leverage those things to our better health, betterment, what have you. If you also recall, the victim mindset was one that was disengaged. The victim mindset does not properly use situational awareness. In fact, a victim may not even realize that they have that tool at their disposal. And that's kind of one key difference between the victim mindset and that hero mindset is the victim would be disengaged with their environment. The hero will be actively engaged with their environment. Here's the dirty truth about situational awareness, though. It requires energy. It requires cognitive thought. It requires, effort. It's not just a passive thing. It is active. It is hence why it's engaged. That's why, frankly, that's why a lot of people don't do it, because it takes effort. It takes practice. It's also a depreciable skill. And if you don't practice it all the time, then you lose that skill and you start to kind of fall out of practice. The human brain does not naturally try to keep learning, keep taking new information in. It likes to be lazy. Once it finds something that works, it's going to try to keep doing that same thing over and over again. And so if thus far in life you have been great holding your phone and going like this as you walk down the sidewalk, you're going to keep doing that because nothing has stopped you yet. No harm has come to you yet by doing that. But one day you might inadvertently cross the street and get hit by a scooter or worse. And then you're going to have to adjust your plan, right? Then your brain is going to start thinking, oh man, I remember that one time when I crossed the street and I was not thinking, I was not aware, I didn't pay attention to my environment. I should start paying attention when I get to crosswalks, right? So you need to really build in situational awareness into your daily life. You need to practice it often. Little ways, doesn't need to be a huge commitment, but you do need to practice it. And eventually you will infuse it layer by layer into your whole life, and it will just become a habit in the background. It's just like something running in the background of your computer. It doesn't really take up much time or space, and you will start to notice patterns and be able to reap those benefits. You've heard me say it before, but I love this word, infusion. You get to infuse these skills into your life, and it makes life, specifically travel, it makes travel so much richer because you're not sitting there on a street corner looking at your map, trying to figure out the next subway stop. You are looking for signs. You are seeing where people flow through. You're looking at what they call lines of drift. We'll get into that in a later episode. But becoming aware and using that awareness as a skill to move through your environment is really what we're all about here. Today, I'm just going to briefly introduce you to the levels of situational awareness. And those are white, green, yellow, red, and black. White taking the least energy. Typically, white is actually where people gain energy. And then on the other side of the spectrum, you have black situational awareness, which is the most energy intensive. Because of that, you don't want to be in it for very long. During the day, it's very natural for us to shift between these different gradations of situational awareness as we move through different scenarios and as we move through different environments. And there are pros and cons to each level of situational awareness, right? The easiest one to think about is you don't want to be in the white all the time when you're down here in this little tiny bubble because you're going to be missing everything that's out there. Similarly, when you're in the black, you are quite literally taking in all the information and your brain is working like a supercomputer to notice patterns. And if you've ever seen Chuck, I like to think of it like intersect, like the intersect mode, and everything's coming in really fast and it's just you're in like a flow state. You are acutely aware of everything that's going on, and the key part there is that you have this sense of control over your environment because you understand what's happening. But the downside of that is that it is so incredibly energy intensive, and if you stay in it too long, you can actually become very anxious. So that's not good either. All right. In our next episode, we are going to dive into white and green situational awareness. Those are the first 2 levels. I'll see you there. Remember, infusing these skills into your daily routine will build habits that last a lifetime. Stay prepared, not paranoid. And we'll see you here next time on Dadcraft.